Welcome to Crime and Wine. I'm Pamela Fagan Hutchins, your host, and this is the show where I talk with other crime fiction writers about the stories of thrills and suspense that will leave you mystified, sometimes horrified, and always wanting more. Please join me in welcoming today's special guest. Well, hello, you guys. It's Pamela. This is Crime and Wine, and we're back for another chat with an author that I truly love and can personally recommend. So, more on that in just a second. I do want to give the 100% gratuitous, makes my stomach clench to even say it, push to my own books. But this is a big release year for me with 6 books coming out. So the first 4 are available for your reading pleasure. Skin and Bones, which is number 8, Patrick Flint and Detective Delaney Pace in her first 3 books. Her Silent Bones, Her Hidden Grave, and Her Last Cry. Walker Prairie, the second Jen Harrington book, is up on pre-order. Hey, I don't even have that on the screen. I'm behind the times here. I got to tell you, there needs to be a special award for Charlene Capadis because she is always first to show up and to comment. So you have an honorary award, Charlene, just so you know. And now I do want to welcome my friend and author, Drew Strickland, to the show. Hello, sir.
Hi, Pamela. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Can you hear the loud airplane-like noise in the background? Is it coming through on the speakers a little bit?
Very little.
That would be my husband who disobeyed his orders to drive his big diesel truck home before this show started. So everyone out there, you all know Eric. This is him losing track of time. So Drew,
Yeah.
You have been a thorn in my side for years because you're in my also bots. People that read my book like you better than me. And now I know why, because I read Abducted in Appalachia.
Well, I don't believe that they like me better than you. You like paved the way. You're definitely somebody that I have been watching and looking up to. So I appreciate that, though.
Well, I appreciate you saying that very much. A couple of years ago, you guys, authors can see how people are reading our books and who else they're reading because Amazon tells us in what they call also bots. And this guy named Drew Strickland just started showing up in every email about my books and every time that I looked at my page. And so I had to go check him out. And I cannot stress enough that Amazon was right. This person, if you like my books, his Sheriff Elven Hallie series is 100% for you. And I loved it. So thank you for that, Drew. Thank you for writing those books.
That's a great compliment from you. I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. So for the neophytes out there who haven't had the chance to read the series yet, one of which is Charlene, who just said Drew is new to me, can you give us a little teaser on the series in general? How do you describe this series or Elven? Don't force me to do it because I will.
Well, okay. So, if you want like the basic TV show, I like to say it's Longmire meets Justified. Because it takes place in West Virginia, in Appalachia, if you will.
Yeah.
Now small county. Yeah. Go ahead and give me your pitch of it.
Okay, so here you go, you guys. First of all, he exactly nailed. If you just said, Pamela, give it the pitch and compare it to 2 shows, I got this major Justified vibe. And for me, that's the highest compliment because Justified as a television show is my favorite television show ever. The original, the first series, although I like the second, and probably Longmire's the second. But I totally got that vibe. And I got serious, Sheriff Elven Hallie is someone who's an underdog in his own town because he is too good looking. He is too nice. He is too, everybody gives him a lot of crap just for being this perfect guy. When meanwhile, he's just trying to be the best sheriff he can be and facing all the troubles you get in a rural county with drugs and thugs and, etc. Everything you expect in Appalachia. How did I do? Did I do it?
That was great. Better than me.
Well, I loved it. I felt so lucky when the book came up on NetGalley to review because all these years later, I tend to only read the books of people that are coming on the show. And I didn't have you scheduled yet. And so it's like, I have no reason to read him. And then boom, there it was, like, light shining down. You must read Drew Strickland. And now I will forever. You have a new book coming out not too long from now.
Yes, very soon.
Very soon. Carnage in the County. Catchy titles. Which
Yeah.
Which comes first, your title or your book?
Oh, the title. Definitely the title. Every time.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. Hey, Eric.
Oh my gosh, did he just fly by? Oh my gosh, get over here. You're literally doing a podcast. Come on, honey. Everyone on the internet knows you.
Hey.
I've already talked about you driving airplane. This is Drew Strickland.
Hi, Drew.
Abducted.
Hi.
We just listened to it. So you were not supposed to like drive the airplane sounding truck up during the show, and
Sorry.
it was like, get out of here, get out of here. So anyway, that'd be my husband. For those people that follow the show or my Facebook page, actually, my dogs and my husband are a very regular appearance, and I apologize. So the new book, Carnage in the County, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, so in book 6, which was Vendetta in the Valley, we ended on each book is its own crime, but then there's all the character stories in the background. And so with those stories, we ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger, kind of coming to terms with the news that Elven was given. And at the same time, there is a big massacre that occurs, and he has to gain the confidence to solve the case. And at the same time, it's an election year, so he also has to defend his position in the county. So, I mean, that's a little tiny bit. I don't know. I'm rambling about it, but
he's got a lot going on, basically. And you did really
Yeah.
good not giving spoilers on book 6 as you were talking about book 7. So that was masterful.
I try. It's hard.
So do you enjoy talking about your work and your books?
Well, yes. If people are interested, I could go on and on about it. But it's opening up about it, because I don't want to talk too much. I want them to read it and enjoy it, and then they can tell me what they want to know.
It's interesting because sometimes people get something so totally different than what we're thinking, and a book really comes alive when it's in the hands of a reader. But I really, as I read your books, I got a strong sense of danger, adventure, that atmospheric setting that you knew I approached you for a few months ago when I hooked you in to do the promotion with me for my readers. Drew is part of, if you subscribe to either of our newsletters, you're going to be getting a free atmospheric thriller every month from our author group of friends. And so that was one of the reasons that I approached Drew, but super strong sense of setting. So why Appalachia? Why that area?
Okay. So the boring answer is that I have a series that is co-authored with my friend Tony Urban, and it's called the Carolina McKay Thrillers. And that takes place in West Virginia. And Elven was first introduced. I like my hand. I'm like talking here like there's, but Elven was first introduced in the Carolina books.
Yeah.
And, but overall, I love that area. Like the idea, the settings. I live in Arizona. We have 2 seasons, and there's desert, and unless you live in certain other areas, I don't know. I just am kind of fascinated with that region.
Yeah. I have literally never done anything but drive through it, but I felt like I was there with your books. It felt creepy and beautiful and dangerous and justified. You know how I got that vibe from that book, or that series. So I loved it.
Yeah. And I love that show. So that's part of me is like, I don't know, I don't want to say it's the same or anything like that, but
It's not.
it's inspired. I don't know.
It is totally different in many ways, and yet it gives homage in ways that make you feel a love for your books that is in part because you write great books. I mean, you're just an excellent writer and the books are great, and also because you have this love for Justified. So it's like this that just makes for this powerful, build and explosion of love.
Yeah.
So anyway, at least that was my experience. And so are you keeping on with this series? Do you have any plans to curtail it, or is it just go as long as the story's
No, it's gonna go for a long time. It's gonna be, I mean, what CJ Box has like 24, 26. I'm not really sure right now,
yeah,
but it's gonna keep going.
yeah.
Definitely.
Isn't it funny how years back, people like Sue Grafton doing the alphabet, I thought I could never write 26 books in a series. And now that we're doing it, it's like, God, I hope I get to write 26 books in this series.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband is literally now saying hello from the other room. You're such a dork. At least the dogs aren't wooing in the background this time. I was talking to Greta Boris last week. I don't know if you know Greta, but she's great. And she had to suffer through my dogs deciding it was dinner time right behind me, and they're Alaska Malamute, so they're very loud. So with your other series, like you mentioned, your co-author series, the Carolina McKay,
Mhm.
are those continuing, or have you set them aside to focus on Elven?
So with Carol, so we we're putting out book 7 in that series soon after book 7, Carnage in the County, comes out. But we've gotten a lot slower with that one so that I can focus more on Elven, is basically
Yeah.
what it is. And that's my only other series. On occasion I throw in a standalone psychological thriller that I just sometimes like to write, but I really, it's so, sometimes you get stuck in the series and you're writing it and you're like, I just want to take a breather. And then as soon as you do, you're like, okay, I can't wait to get back in that world of Elven and Hollis and all the other characters that are in that book or in that series.
Do you feel like that about the other things you write, or is it really more a love affair with Elvin and his world?
Mm. Oh, that's I think it's ultimately it's Elven in his world.
Yeah.
Um, I like to mix it up and have something new, but overall the coming back, it feels kind of like familiar, like coming back to friends.
Yeah. And I think that to a certain extent, while we can write a lot of things, it's okay to have favorites. It's okay to find something you think, I was made to write this. I'm the person to deliver this story. And own it. Now, do you envision spinning off other series from Elvin, or is it really, or is he kind of captured your?
I
Nah.
think Elven is it as far as this world goes. It's kind of a, no, anyone that could spin off, I feel like then Elven would be missing that person, that key,
Yeah.
like in it. So
You have really strong bad guys, but it's really hard to build a series around a bad guy, and I don't know. I've done some spinning off before, but it was because I was tired of a particular world or a character. When you want to stay with one, you want to stay with one. Do you find it hard to go back and forth from like point of view and things like that? Or is it pretty much just like a day
like
in the
between
life of a writer?
characters, you mean? Between characters
Well,
going
more
back and forth?
between series, between like extreme changes, like Carolina McKay or a standalone thriller back to Elvin and vice versa.
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. I think I get this idea of it being like I'm so excited, and then as soon as I'm in it, I'm like, man, I kind of wish I was writing Elvin right now. And
Yeah.
but I mean, that also might just be me. That just might be, my brain wants the next thing that I have to work on before finishing what I'm working on. So
So you've mentioned an Elmore Leonard, the whole Justified, and CJ Box. Are they some of your favorite authors to read? Or
oh yeah, I love reading CJ Box, definitely. That's he's a I don't know. I like reading him. I like reading I got to meet him once, and do a signing. I've seen him on your show,
Oh yeah.
but so the same kind of thing, I guess.
Um,
Fanboy.
Yeah, I actually went to one of his signings once, and the first time I interviewed him on my show, I brought a picture of us from that signing. Because at the time, it was just like, I'm just a person that's in line because I desperately wanted to meet him and get his autograph in my book. But I did later trot out the picture and say, "This was me, fangirling you."
Yeah.
For me, when I read your share of Elven Hallie, I get some of that, a great guy battling a whole lot of strikes against him, kind of I don't want to say Dudley Do Right, but a good person, right? You know, everybody has their flaws, but essentially a good guy, right? I have
Yeah.
literally hooked my bracelet on my sweater. There we go. I've been locked down. I'm struggling like this. I have a straight jacket. So this is the part of the show where we generally change gears a little bit, and we'll still talk a little bit about writerly things, but we're also going to cover some ground that we cover with every writer through what are called the speed round questions. And I never know what I'm going to ask except with you. And I absolutely know that my first question is, are you a dog or a cat person? Because I want to hear you describe this answer.
Oh, I'm definitely, well, I love both. I've had both, but I am 100% a cat person.
And do you have cats currently in your life, in your home?
Yes, we have two cats, Batman and Robin.
Awesome.
We call Robin Shrubby Girl. We call Batman Floofy Boy because they're fur. And they each only have, when we got them from the adoption place, they each only had one eye, and they're from the same litter. And they said that it was just like when they were given them that they had an infection. I'm not really sure, but
Wow.
you would never guess it. They're awesome.
They sound very cute. Shrub Girl and Floofy Boy.
Yeah.
And, those are good nicknames. So, and on your website, I was laughing because you're like, cats love me. So you're like the cat magnet. You're like the Pied Piper.
Yes. And it's, so there's, that show that My Cat from Hell.
Yeah.
We always talked about, like, I could do that show but not instruct people how to do it, and it would just be me playing with people's cats that they can't get along with, and I'm like, look, it's so easy. And then
I don't know what's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with
yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, I love a guy that owns his cat stuff, like, I am Catman, hear me roar, Catman do. And we have a commenter saying you sound like a cat whisperer. So you guys out there, first of all, thank you. I'm loving your comments, and let me know if you have any questions for Drew. We're about halfway through the show, and I still have time to throw a few in if you've got them. But I'm going to ask one that I know that they often ask, which is one I forgot to ask during the first half, which where do you get the ideas for your books? Like, let's just take Carnage in the County, and having recently read and having the tab open with the description of the book on Amazon, it's a mass shooting in a library that kind of, from a plot perspective, anchors the book. Where do you get this? Is this a rip from the headlines kind of thing, or?
So I did a Zoom call with a library one time, and it didn't go so great. and so so I was like, well, what if the library, and so my Zoom call, it's all incorporated into that. No hard feelings to the library, but it just
And you're just sitting there in a very difficult Zoom call going, what would happen if? Okay, well, I don't know how that goes in my mind, but oh my gosh. Well, now they're going to be stars forever because of the plot of this book. You have a fan, as I told you already, and my husband, but he just said that's beautiful. Are your books standalone, or should they be read in order? Charlene wants to know what's your preference for people?
I would say read them in order. However, you can read them out of order because of the fact that there is a case that gets solved in each book, but you probably miss some of the surrounding character backstories if you don't read it in order.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely felt like since I started with Abducted in Appalachia that two things happened. One is that it was very enjoyable as a standalone read. It made me want to read more in the series, and it made me sad that I had started with book 1 so that I could get the character development built up. So I'll vouch for you on that. So when you are setting down to write, do you write every day?
No, I don't. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Wish I did.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I take weekends and, do stuff around the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Life intrudes. This
Yeah.
is a thing called life. When you sit down to write, do you have a certain vibe that you create either in an office? It looks like you're in an office right now. Are you actually top secret Elven?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh God, can't believe it took me so long to see that. That was a good joke, man. That was a good joke. It said top secret Elven dies in book 7. Very good. But it looks like an office. Do you tend to write in an office or do you bounce around?
No, I write in the office.
Yeah.
I have on occasion, if I feel like I'm getting stuck, I've gone to like the coffee shop or something nearby, but most of the time, most of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you are sitting down to write, what is your favorite part of writing? Is it first draft or is it rewrite? Is it editing? Is it saying, thank God that's over and walking away? Do you brainstorming, outlining? What's your thing?
Okay, my favorite thing is probably brainstorming because I get all these ideas that come flying at me, and then I'll kind of piece them together, and like I'll hold it all in my head. Like it's hard to like you go to the grocery store, but you're not you decide not to get a cart, but then you're like, oh, I just decided to buy a whole week's worth of groceries for a family of 4. This was a terrible idea, and so you're trying to hold all the ideas in, and then there's like one idea that makes all of them click and fall into place.
Yes.
And so then I really like that. And then I outline it, in which I guess is part of the brainstorming. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite part when it all comes together. Cause then I get that like tingly feeling. Like I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good. When I have that, then I know like, okay, I'm ready to write. And then I draft, and I like drafting too. It's just,
but
my favorite.
It's okay. Favorite. If your favorite is what your favorite is. And I love that answer, by the way. I've never gotten an answer like that before. But I can totally relate to it. That feeling of why, I have all these disjointed ideas and they're all okay, but how am I going to fit them together? And then I know. I just know. And it's like, okay, now I'm ready to write. Sometimes then is it hard to hold yourself back from starting immediately as soon as you have that epiphany, or do you have the rigor to sit down and force the outline?
I'll start sometimes. In fact, a lot of times I feel like I have to get the first few chapters to give me sort of like a little running start.
Yeah.
To see where it's going to go. And then the rest of it kind of falls into place.
So if you were to win the lottery tomorrow, which I hope you do, but if you don't play, that would be impossible. But if you were to win the lottery and had a very large sum of money, what were some of the things you think you'd do with it first? Well,
we would travel like crazy. I love traveling. Yeah. And if money was no option, then it would be great. I do have little kids or young kids in school. So that is the difficult part. We'd have to like get them. I don't know. Do they want to travel and learn at the same time? But you know what I would really do? I would really want to buy a Renaissance festival. And
again, an answer I've never had before. Do elaborate on this, Drew.
I love going to the Renaissance Festival here every year. That's like for 2 or 3 months. And our family loves it. I don't know what it is. It's just like the food, the random little art trinkets you can buy. And we just have such a great time. So I would love to buy the Renaissance Festival. I know like each state has their own, but
Yeah.
I just want one.
You just
for
want
me.
one. Well, you
Yeah.
don't want to gobble it all up and steal the fun from everyone. I mean, come on. Oh my gosh, that is such a great answer. I love it. If you were to have a dream job other than being a writer, and someone said, for today and today only, Drew, you can have this dream job, what would it be?
One day.
One day.
Well, yeah, that's difficult. I was gonna say a travel show. Be
Okay, so
a travel show personality.
1 year.
1 year. Yeah, there you go. Then that would be fair. I would do a travel show. I would get paid to go eat and meet people and explore. That would be my.
That would be fun. That would be very fun. Are you a foodie?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's one of the best parts about traveling. And so if you were to if you and Elven were to go out together, dinner, happy hour, whatever, what is Elven ordering? What are you guys doing?
Well, Elvin's ordering a scotch because that's just what he
His thing.
drinks. Yeah, that's his thing. Food. Well, he does not. Well, I guess this isn't a spoiler, but he doesn't eat beef, so he would probably get chicken or something like that. Mine would be boring. I don't drink, so I'd get a non-alcoholic beer and then a I don't know. It depends on what the menu is.
Do you have a favorite brand? A favorite type of
Yeah, I like this brand called Go Brewing, and it's
brewing?
they make these sours. It's actually what I'm drinking right now.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
Cool. I have to tell my husband about it. Well, this has been fun. And that Renaissance Festival answer just completely caught me off guard. But I love it. I feel like I know a lot more about you after that answer. Like all the others, it's like, okay, I'm digging back the layers, but now the essential element of travel show and owning a Renaissance Festival. Now we can be friends. Thanks for coming on. I hope that this series continues to go great for you and that the next book just rocks it. Come back anytime.
Oh yeah. So I gotta say about casting, you didn't even ask me who I would cast.
Cast in your movie. Yes. Cast in that damn movie. Come on.
All right. Well, it depends. It comes out now. I would say I would love Jensen Ackles to be Elven. And from Supernatural or The Boys.
Yeah.
And I will say if Hollis is one of my favorite characters to write. He is like the series bad guy, but you love to hate him. There's this guy, his name is Jono Roberts, and
I think I know him.
He does a lot of theater, and he was on. Let's see, he was on the second season of the show called La Brea and just elevated that show, and he was amazing.
Cool. I think those are good. And it's hard because when you keep writing a series, sometimes those answers change over time. Like, well, now we're shooting and that character is now 15 years younger than I thought it would be 15 years ago. But that's pretty cool. I've wanted to watch the Brea. Recommended? You liked it?
My wife and I loved it.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're into. It's a little bit cheesy sometimes.
Well, my husband likes action adventure, and I pretty much stick with where people get killed. So, there's dead people, I'm good. Or cheesy rom-com, which he watches.
It's pretty like cheesy sci-fi almost in some ways. So,
that's his other go-to. He'll watch the cheesy rom-com because I watch the cheesy sci-fi. And I found we're going over, and for those of you that don't want to hang around with us, on you, but the rest of you stick around because this is where it gets good. The show that was on Netflix recently, Three Body
Problem.
Yes, I found it a little bit cheesy, but I loved it, and I had questions at the end, and I had problems, and I had issues all along. But that's my favorite kind of show. Is one where I can talk to the show and argue with it about what's going on. And
Uh, and so we watch a lot of cheesy stuff. So it sounds like Brea is going to be added to our list. My gosh. Usually my husband's working, and everyone that watches the show can attest to this. He usually doesn't make an appearance. Today he is, well, the king of cheese is the king of crime and wine today. So thank you, hon. Anyway, did we fail to get any others that you had good answers for that we're ready to go? Because we're still on. We can do whatever we want.
I don't know. I tried making notes, but I didn't even go off of any notes that I made. So I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I used to print out all the questions so that I could like check and be sure that I asked the ones that felt most interesting with any particular guest. That went out the window a long time ago. I was just like that was never going to hold me down from what we wanted to talk about. So I totally get it. Well, again, it was a pleasure. The book is Carnage in the County, you guys. The Sergeant Elven Hallie Mysteries.
Sheriff.
Oh, would I say sergeant?
Yeah, you totally did.
The Sheriff, Elven Hallie. I did a flyer for a coming book event that I had the other day, and I spelled the name of the store wrong. So it's always something, right? So here was my equivalent of spelling the name of the store wrong that's hosting me to do a book event. It's missaying the title of your series. But we do have people, despite my problems, who are going to start the series, like Charlene. Thank you, Charlene. You're pulling my fat out of the fire here.
Thank you, Charlene.
So I will catch you soon, and thanks again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So the rest of you, it's your normal, whatever, Pamela being a dummy today. But we got to add to that, instead of the dogs, we got to add Eric. I do want to run through a few of the ending things. I'm going to start a new thing at the end here, which is I'm going to tell you secrets. So last week I shared with you that the next Detective Delaney Pace book, Wyoming Mystery, is coming out October 9th. And that the name of the book is, are you ready? I'm not putting in this in writing anywhere because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell. Her Forgotten Shadow. Will Hachette kick me out of the fold for this? We shall see. The other exciting news that's new news is that when the audiobooks come out this time for this next book, they will move all the audiobooks into wide distribution. So for those of you that have been concerned that it's not in your library, you just have to wait till October, and then it will be, or at least it'll be available for your library to order. It's up to you to request it. I do want to encourage you to go out to the website to look at past shows, prep for upcoming shows. You could have, for instance, read the Sheriff Elven Hallie Mysteries ahead of this show. If you checked it out, and I highly encourage it, makes the discussions a lot more fun for everybody. And you can also get my books in any format there, as well as on the major retailers, except for Delaney. She's ebook is limited to Amazon. Crime and Wine is a solely owned and copyrighted production of Authors on the Air Global Radio Group. We are a digital media group with over 4 million viewers and listeners in 153 plus countries, of one of which is you, and very much appreciated, all of you. Thanks for your very fun interaction today, notwithstanding my husband, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for being a part of it. Let's see how well I can do on the outro today. I'm always going to mess something up, you guys. Here we go. Boom, boom.
Thanks for joining us today on Crime and Wine, chats with crime fiction authors and Pamela Fagan Hutchins. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll check back in with us next time for more thrills, suspense, and stories that will mystify, sometimes horrify, and always leave you wanting more.